Hello, listeners. You're listening to the Wolfe and Thorn podcast, number 10. This is the final podcast in season 2. My name is CC Thornley, and I play banjo.
Such a positive vibe. And I'm Emily Wolfe, and I play the fiddle.
And so, yeah, if you've been listening, we play Tasmanian folk music. We just have a lot of fun with the tunes. We love Tasmanian folk music and the folk genre down here. It's pretty cool. If you've been listening to the last 9 episodes, you'll notice we've done quite a few specials. If you've listened to the first season, you'll know that by tradition that we established in that first season, the last episode, we take a song from every one of the previous episodes. And so we're going to play you 10 songs. 10 songs today.
10 tunes.
Tunes. Yes. That old chestnut.
Maybe
again.
in season 3 we'll segue that out the song bit and just say tunes.
We've really only had one song this season, and that was the one that Fred Pryback sung about the possum and the kangaroo.
Yes, and also the football song.
Oh yes,
Barren.
Come On You White Mark Boys, which was channel, which was chapisode. Oh God, I'm having a rough day.
He's having a rough day, but you've got coffee in your hand, so maybe have a sip of coffee
right,
and get through that coffee. Yep, deep breath.
Oh, that's damn fine coffee.
The best coffee in Kingston is at my house.
Yes, so Chapter 8 was Come On You White Mark Boys, and that was more or less a kind of a sequel. It was the first time we had Fred Pryback on the show. And he was telling us about his involvement with Cape Barren, and a lot of people are interested in the Cape Barren tradition that sort of happened in the northeast on the islands there with the indigenous Palawa people. And we actually interviewed Marinda Jane and had a little bit of a commentary from Cody Summers, who are 2 Palawa people from up that way. And they shared with us some music that we're going to play this episode.
Yes, I've loved this season. That I've learnt a bit more accurate information. And particularly the episode we did with Stephen and Marjorie Gadd about Eileen McCoy, that was great.
Yeah.
I loved learning more about that. But also I've learnt a few more tunes, which has been excellent. So we can now add that to our own canon, as you say.
Yeah.
And we were playing the tunes before we started recording. It's like, oh yeah, we can use that tune for a dance.
Yep.
So
32 bars, that's just what we need.
I'm already thinking ahead, going, well, we can reuse these tunes, which is great. So
I think that's one thing this podcast has actually done is managed to connect a few threads that aren't usually that close and sort of bring them together, because I don't care that much about the various schools and cliques. Like, I'll just come in and raid what everyone else has got. And we do the Tasmanian Heritage Fiddle, so we share these songs with the next upcoming generation. Because one thing, because Emily and I do the Tasmanian Heritage Ensemble every Wednesday with Kathy Hutchinson as well. And it's kind of like a semi-mentoring, semi-professional ensemble where we take people of all ages and all skill levels and come in and teach these tunes. And we also make sure we do a gig once a term, and that's to sort of train people up into seeing what it's like doing a gig.
And speaking of a gig, we actually have a gig with the group.
Oh, yes.
The 24th of July, which is a Saturday, at the Bright Eyes Cafe. You can check us out in the flesh and hear these tunes. Actually, some of these tunes on the set list. Actually, maybe we'll play one of them. Actually, a couple of them. But you would have heard us play these tunes along in the podcast. And yeah, that's 4 till 6 at Bright Eyes Cafe, free of entry, and yeah, that's going to be a fun afternoon.
And that's more of a concert gig than it is a dance gig.
It'll be sitting down, and we won't be sitting.
Yeah, well, you'll be given a notebook and a pen, and you'll get to take notes on the performance.
Take notes,
give us an evaluation sheet at the end of the gig.
We may or may not read it.
Yeah, we did speak about a dance gig. We did a special on what it takes to do a dance gig on episode, I think it was 6?
6 or
Let
7?
the Kids Dance, anyway, is the name of that one. But I was going to say, in doing the Tasmanian Heritage Ensemble, I'm watching all these young people join and thinking to myself, Em, that was you back in the day, carrying on the tradition. How does that make you feel?
I think it was episode
4.
We were both wrong.
Shockingly wrong. Thank God you've got notes to this episode.
I know, it's the one time I actually feel organised.
Yeah.
It feels really nice to see I guess, that full circle. Because
and they get into it, and you can tell that they're gonna go away and they're gonna do exactly what you and Rebecca and Violet did, and that's start their own little string ensembles.
Well,
and
I
bands.
hope, because there's I'm seeing some friendships starting to establish in the group, and like the players always play next to each other, and I know that they also catch up out of heritage and play the tunes. So I really hope that you can only hope to inspire people to keep playing, write their own music, and keep sharing this music, which is what you want to do, because we want to keep it alive, and it is very much so.
Quite, I enjoy it immensely.
Yeah, I get a real joy of it, and we have some people come from north now. We have one lady, one of my students comes down from Lonnie to come down, and she wants to come and play with the group, and she's going to do the gig with us, and it's going to be great.
And she takes our southern songs up to the north, where she then gets lambasted by the northerners.
No, they love it. She takes up. No, she really likes it, and also she particularly likes Paddy's tunes. So because I taught her Fedora's Dilemma.
Oh yeah, that's a favourite. That's a big favourite. Paddy put that into the Signet Folk Festival this year as a comp tune, didn't she?
Yeah, she got the People's Choice Award.
People's Choice Award.
Because that's how awesome she is. Yeah, so it's great. It's really good. So it's been really fun this episode to get other people in, sharing in their stories, and I hope when we do season 3 or whatever future happens, we can have more of it.
And it's going to be a long break before season 3, folks. So if you come to this podcast late, like you're listening to it in 2022, and you get the information about that gig, you've missed out, suckers.
Yeah, you're a bit behind the 8 ball.
A bit late, mate. Come on.
A bit late. Come on. Sort yourself out.
Yeah.
Have a word with yourself.
So we're going to play a tune?
Yep, we're going to do... This is it's one of your faves.
It is one of my faves.
So that's why I picked it.
And it's from the historical figure I like the least.
Yes.
And it's a bit of a tricky thing emotionally because... we're entering mainstream Australia is entering into this awakening, and it's not a very comfortable awakening for mainstream Australia. I've never really been a part of mainstream Australia, so for me, I just look on the side, look from the sidelines with a bit of Schadenfreude, because I had this awakening back in 1988.
That was before I was born.
I was starting to ask the question, because we're going through this big bicentennial. You missed the bicentennial, Emily. It was huge, the most bloviated, grotesque exhibition of impotent nationalism you've ever seen in your life. The colours I remember the most, there was a little bit of green and gold, but mostly it was orange and brown for some reason. But this big bicentennial celebration, and I remember thinking to myself, there's something amiss here. Something isn't quite right. The history lessons I'm getting at school, something doesn't add up. And this bugged me for years and years and years. And I used to ask my teachers, what about the Aboriginal people that lived here in this area? And they had no idea. I was often told there were no Aboriginal people living here, or they just roamed the land, or they were inconsequential. And we had no idea just how much of an important part of our history, of white history. They say white Australia has a black history, and it's so true.
Yep.
So to give you an example, a small example of that, there was this fellow called John Batman, who was a bit of a difficult figure in history, but he was one of he was the guy who opened up Victoria to the white settlers, and he could not have done it if he didn't have 6 Aboriginal guys working for him. So what used to happen was they would pull up in Port Phillip Bay, and the 6 Aboriginal Eora people from Sydney would they'd go put on traditional dress and put on or get rid of their colonial clothes, because they were quite indoctrinated by this time, and they would go off and they'd make contact with the tribes. And then bring the tribes back to sign the Port Phillip Association Treaty, quote unquote. See, I'm using the little air things.
I'm watching that.
So that treaty was a treaty set up with the Dardigala people for use of the land, for basically putting sheep on their land. And they were to be given a certain amount of things for every year for this particular rent of the land. As soon as that treaty was signed, I think it was 1820s, not one year, not once, not one time was that treaty ever paid. The rent was never paid on that treaty,
Okay.
So there's these little things like that, but in Australia, in Tasmania, it got pretty dark, and the chap who is associated with this tune was instrumental in that darkness, and he should be remembered for that. But So why do I play his music? Why do I enjoy the music that comes from him? Why don't I shun it? And the reason is because I see songs as people, as little children, and I don't want to judge the children by the sins of their father, you know, and the songs have a chance for redemption, I think, whereas the author, the so-called author, probably has long lost his chance for redemption.
Yeah.
So, and I'm kind of a weirdo in that respect, because I do think songs are spiritual beings. And
I don't think you're weird, because I feel the same way.
You do?
Yeah.
Right. Because remember back in season 1 I said that thing, and you looked at me and said, Carl, you are such a weirdo.
Well, maybe I've come around. You've worn off me. Maybe a little bit. Not everything.
These little victories, they make it all worthwhile.
Yeah,
so
only
like,
a little bit. But yeah, the composer we're talking about is Alexander Lang. So we should we'll get into it.
Yeah, but before we do that, I just want to say songs are like a person. A song is a person who is absent, that everybody talks about and describes, and everybody who talks and describes that person describes a different thing about that person, but it's the same person. Do you get what I mean?
I think so.
Like, we're going to talk about Miss Officer's Waltz, the song/person.
Tune.
And oh God, it's going to be a long podcast. And we're going to describe Miss Officer's Waltz tune on these attributes, but somebody else will describe the same person.
Yes.
But that person never materialises. They're absent.
Yeah, no, I understand.
You know,
yeah.
they're like a ghost.
Yeah, but we're not going down that rabbit hole either.
That's for season 3 podcast. Emily Wolfe and Carl Thorn explore the paranormal.
Oh, jeez.
There's a billion and one of those
Give me
podcasts.
strength for that, seriously. Let's just play the tune.
Very good. This is Miss Officer's Waltz. I can't remember what season it was from, but yeah.
It's been a regular, you know, it's
my favourite.
It's your favourite, so that's why I did it. What?
Gotcha!
You did. But that actually worked quite well.
It did. Yeah,
There was a mistake and I went with it.
Yeah, and it was good. That's the key of discovery in music, folks. And I find this a lot in a lot of my students that I teach who are very beginner level. They make a mistake and it's like a nuclear bomb's gone off and they cannot recover.
Oh, they stop.
They stop
That
and
was
they
actually a
freak
really
out and they
nice way of doing it.
apologise.
How to end Miss Officers.
Yeah, I thought of that just then.
Don't take all that. Hang on. No. Don't take all that credit.
But anyway, the point of what I was saying was, kids, if you do make a mistake, just go with it. It's discovery. And I say this to my students because I'm a weirdo. I say, you know, your instrument is actually a sentient, autonomous individual on another plane of existence. But in this dimension, it needs you to be the conduit. And occasionally, very occasionally, its brain will just seep into your brain and borrow your fingers. And that's what mistakes are. So go with those mistakes and explore them.
Because you'll discover something and then it'll stick.
Discover something.
Discover.
Welcome to the Family Channel.
We're all about discovery. All right. Jeez. I don't know where we're going.
It just felt mawkish. I had to go with the mawkishness.
Yeah, that was weird. Okay, let's bring it back. So we're going to do another waltz because we like starting off, ease into it. And this is the Spanish Waltz. I can't remember what episode we played this on, but
this was
from our dance set.
But it's also an Eileen McCoy collect tune, is it not?
It is, yes.
And I think it's a popular one right around Australia, and also Spain.
Also, I think
no, it's not from. It's got nothing to do with.
There's
Spain.
2 different versions. So this version we're reading today, you're going to have to skip bars.
Oh, oh God!
You got to go from there to there. Can you manage that?
So that. Oh, jeez, where are we going?
Because we don't actually, what's written, you can't see it, but the version that we're looking at right now, we actually don't normally play those extra bars. I mean, we can.
So I'm looking at this sheet music.
You've got to go there to there.
And there's these minimum chords here, 2 dots and 2 dots.
You went to jazz school. I think you can manage to skip and just go there.
Yeah, all right, so I go from that. I go straight here to that. Those last 4 bars.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then skip to there.
Oh, okay. So yeah, okay.
You got it?
I think so.
You'll hear it because we've done it before.
Oh God.
And the reason why we chopped it up like that, I think, was to fit a dance, or because you found, was it this version or the other tune? Was it this one you found, an Eileen McCoy transcribed version of this? Or is that on board waltz? I'm getting mixed up.
It might be on board waltz,
okay.
Yeah. No, it's on board waltz, yeah.
Oh, okay. But no, Spanish Waltz is a really popular one. People like it. We like playing it. So we're going to do it for you now.
Here we go. This is for real.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
The Spanish Waltz, featured in possibly, we didn't actually play it in the Eileen McCoy thing. We played that as the chapter 4. Let the Kids Dance.
Yep.
Which with David Wanless talking all about the stuff we have to go through to put on a dance and what it's like from the musician's point of view and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of planning goes into it. A lot of making sure that the tunes line up with the bars. It's a lot of bar counting, and I think yes, at that dance I mentioned in the other podcast that we got out of sync with the dancers, and we were at least I think 8 bars out, and David had to come up and just stop the band because it was the end of the dance, but we
just kept on rocking out.
We would have just kept on going, and it was like okay, and that does happen. Like I think we repeated a section we didn't need to do, and I think that's where we went wrong, and that's for next time. And I remember turning around to the group and be like, we have to stop here, and everyone was like panicking. I'm like, that sometimes happens. That does sometimes happen, and if you can't fix it, you just got to stop mid-tune. I know it's awkward, but got to do it.
This next tune we're going to play came from an early episode in season 2 where we discussed some of the tunes that have come to Tasmania from friends who have visited and come into our community and either moved in and stayed or come in, given us a gift and buggered off. But this one in particular is probably the equivalent to China that Waltzing Matilda is to Australia. So it's a good tune. It's horrifically abused by the government in propaganda, just like Waltzing Matilda is in Australia. And it's a bit mainstream, but it's also very traditional and very folky.
I really like this tune, and when we played it on the podcast, I had it on. It came up on my release radar on my Spotify playlist, and they were singing. I'm like, I know this tune. Oh, it's the Jasmine.
Yeah. Well, actually, because I've been playing a lot of Civilization 6, which is a computer board game.
Here we go. Wow.
And
geez.
I did subject Emily to a 2-hour rant about how the Hungarians traded iron from me and then used it to build weapons to attack me. But that's another story.
I fell asleep.
But in Civilization 6, the thing about the Civ 6 game is its production, and it's incredible. And look, it really is worth just doing a YouTube search for Civilization 6 themes, and because you've got every country has its own theme song. And believe it or not, the Australian one is Waltzing Matilda, and there'll be 4 different versions. There's a real folky version when you're in the ancient era, and then it moves up a bit with some strings when you reach the medieval era, to the point where they've done a beautiful electro version of it.
Wonder who gets employed to come up with these for game soundtracks. I can't remember
the name of the guy, but there was a guy who arranged the whole thing, and it really is an incredible piece of work. And I think that in the future, when we look back at the songs that are standard songs in our culture, computer games and video games are going to have a huge part in that. It used to be movies, it used to be like marches and stuff before movies and that.
That's true.
But this is going to, because remember, if you did the conservatorium, how many ensembles or how many students did you see actually do a computer game like the theme for Mario Brothers, like, and that's like a proper standard now.
People love doing it.
Yeah. Anyway, so Civilization 6, and this was the song the Jasmine was used for China. If you play China, you get this beautiful version of the Jasmine playing as you invade other countries and build up your nuclear weapons arsenal. It's quite wonderful.
That's terrible.
I'll never use them. Except on you, hungry. I'm watching you.
Down the rabbit hole again. All right, this is the Jasmine. Let's just keep moving. Staying clear. Jeez. All right. Oh, 1, 2.
Well, that was lovely.
That was lovely.
And that was a song that was taught to me by, I think it was Paul Jung, who came to the conservatorium, and we did that as a part of my ensemble with him on the Arhu, the 2-string Chinese fiddle.
It was a beautiful sounding instrument too. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, they're great instruments. I lived in China for a year in Chengdu, and I'd often go down and hang out in the park and just watch China happen all around me. And there was this guy there who used to sell peanuts, and he was a Chinese guy, obviously, and I couldn't speak very good Chinese at the time, and he certainly couldn't speak any English. But one time I took
Was
down...
it Mandarin or Cantonese?
would have been Mandarin.
Mandarin.
Yeah, Putonghua. So we went down and I took my little guitar. I needed to buy a fretboard, so I just bought this crappy guitar, and I'm sitting in the park strumming along, just practicing some scales. And it's very hard to buy banjos in China, I should point out. And he came along and he pulled out his erhu, and we couldn't communicate, but the only English he knew was do, re, mi, and that's what we communicated on.
Oh, wow.
So we started singing, playing these songs, and he would just do, re, mi, the tunes, me go do, re, do, that sort of stuff, and I'd play along. And pretty soon we had a small crowd by Chinese standards of about 250 people gathered around us. And he sold all his peanuts that day, and he tried to give me money for them for helping him out, but I couldn't take it off him.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was one of those things.
Really cool.
Music is the universal language, man.
That's really cool. Small crowd, 250 people.
Yeah, that was pretty disappointing turnout, really, for China. I remember once we went to this really small, pokey little Chinese village, and they were complaining about how small it was. And I said, "Oh, really? How many people live there?" Thinking it'd be like 7. It was 450,000. But
Jeez.
yeah, I think we got arrested in that town for being American spies. But that's another story. I'm not an American spy, by the way.
No, well...
The information, the accuracy of information you get from me, triple that in accuracy, that's what I'd give to the Americans. just for shits and giggles, folks.
Just for lols.
Just for the lols.
Jeez, that's hilarious. But that's so lovely with that man. That's really great. And he only knew do, re, mi, and that's how he communicated.
That's how we communicated, yeah.
That's really
Do,
special.
re, mi. Because we're looking at it, he's like, and I was like, what key, what chord? And he couldn't understand me, I couldn't understand him. And he just pulls out his little sheet and he goes, do, re, mi. And off we went.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And I never saw him again because I think he got arrested by the PSB.
Jeez, why do your stories always have like a sad end?
Because I hate sentimentality, and I've noticed that this podcast was going down the, hey, peace and love, music's the universal language, man. Like, yeah, look at the young kids. Oh, it's so good. I'm so glad so many people. I'm so happy to see everybody. I love everything. Thank you.
We've never sounded like that ever.
We almost did this podcast. That's why I'm pulling stops now.
We
saying
did.
Enough's. We've got music's the universal language. We're also praising the youth. We're praising the youth.
Well,
Youth's not to be praised.
We're just trying to be nice.
That's what I mean.
Jeez, calm down.
Oh.
I wonder why people don't listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
All right. No, there are some people, and thank you for those regular listeners. We do. That gives us comfort. Well, it helps Carl sleep at night, knowing that people listen to him rant.
Somebody listens to me.
Because it goes in my ear and out the other when Carl talks to me. But
it's good information too.
it's good. Well,
some of my best stuff.
Most of it is.
Yeah, straight out the ear.
All right. Well,
Anyway.
let's move on to our next tune, which is Leo's Prince of Wales Schottische.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember. Again, I can't remember anything about this tune. I don't know if I even looked up anything about this
Just
tune.
make something up.
I'll look.
Just make something up and get an angry email. So,
Yeah.
Leo, his Prince of Wales was different to the other Prince of Wales because he was a native of Wales. He wasn't like a settled member of the country of Wales.
Sold peanuts.
He worshipped a different prince. And so
Yep.
when they found out, they said, well, this is your Prince of Wales Schottische, but our Prince of Wales Schottische is the bona fide
Yep. Dinky die.
Victoria Regina, one might say. Be careful when you say that, youths.
Yep.
If you're going to say that around school.
Yeah. Be mindful. Could end up with detention. I don't know where I was going with that. Here we go. That was a great background story of Leo, Prince of Wales.
No, this song wasn't this in dance? I know we played this in a dance. It's one that gets played in a dance.
We did do this at the dance. We did play this at the dance. It's for the dance of the Schottische, which is a Victorian dance.
Not Victorian era dance.
Victorian era dance. Sorry, yes.
Not Victoria, the state. They don't actually dance in Victoria.
No,
they
don't.
They just stand there. Or
They just stand there
often
and
they'll sit down.
they just stand and frown at you with their arms folded.
I can play better than that.
Yep.
My band's better than this.
They wish. Ooh.
Sorry to all our Victorian listeners, sort of.
I have no beef against you Victorians. It's Carl, not me. Just want to make that super clear.
Oh, big shout out to the people out in Dalesford, though, who've been warmly receiving our podcast. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. And a big shout out to the Guildford Family Hotel, where they run the Guildford Banjo Jamboree, where I used to do workshops on jazz banjo.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so there you go. So we were just kidding. We were just joking, Victoria.
We're just joshing.
Ha.
Yep. Let's play the tune.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
That was Leo's Prince of Wales Schottische. I can't remember what that was from.
That was nice and lively.
Yeah, it's a lively tune. It's a good one.
It's a good one. All right, now we're going to move into one of the newer ones that we've learnt this season, and it was from Kate Barren's special that Mirinda taught us on the spot. So if you listen to that episode, it's a great example of how when we play these tunes and like we sort of, and for that one we weren't entirely sure what Mirinda was bringing in terms of tunes, so we were quite put on the spot to go, yeah, okay, we can half figure this out. But I've actually now got the tune I've got the dots now for this tune. It's the Kate Barren Washerwoman, and it's very much this. It's a version. It's their version of the Irish Washerwoman, which is another trad Irish tune. And yeah, it's a really good little one. So I wanted to play it today.
So the Kate Barren fiddlers and the people up there, they sort of there was a bit of isolation going on. So they'd gotten their stringed instruments and picked up scraps of music and stuff and made them their own versions. And so you'll be very familiar with this tune if you're anything close to Irish music, because it is very much based on the Irish Washerwoman.
Yep.
But what happened is in that isolation, it fermented into something of their own. So,
because I think they would have been. I think Mirinda was saying they were taught. It was mainly taught by ear, so they didn't, because a lot of them couldn't read music. So it would have just been like from memory, and how this is rendition into their own version, because it would have been like they couldn't remember how the second part went, so they just made up their own part, which, you know, it kind of works alongside with the original as well, like the Irish version, I should say.
Well, if you listen to Chapter 7, Mirinda was telling us what happens when she played this.
Yeah.
I don't know, because she wanted to get right into Irish. Well, you can have a listen to Chapter 7 and listen to it, tell it for yourself, folks. But she would get funny looks when they'd play the Irish Washerwoman, because she'd play this version.
Yeah. She'd go to default, because the A section's pretty much the same, but the B section is different. And yeah, she was saying people kind of look over going, what are you doing? But that's, you know, just do whatever, because that's the wonderful thing with music, because it still works.
Because a song is a person who you describe in their absence.
Yes, as we've said.
Yeah.
All right, shall we do it?
Yes.
Kate Barren or Washerwoman. 1, 2, and...
Because I'm reading that from your thing, and when that email came out, I started reading the email and forgot what song I was playing.
Yeah, sorry, reading from the iPad because it's just the easier way.
Yes, it's a new era, folks. It's a brand new era in folk music.
It also just makes it easier because everything's there.
Yeah.
Cool, so we're going to move on. Well, we did this tune last week, but, you guys can deal with that.
Yeah.
Because we like it.
And so the story is very fresh in our minds. We can tell it reasonably accurately, unlike everything else we've said to you.
Yes. But I can't remember what I said because, I'm got baby brain, so...
Oh, because you're having a baby.
A baby. Don't have to be weird about it.
It is weird. The whole thing is weird.
Yeah, you've just really struggled. I mean...
Human life is weird.
I know.
You know what we've been watching lately? My girlfriend and I have been getting into Star Trek Next Generation.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. And that is triply weird because it's weird because Star Trek is weird. It's weird because it was how the 80s thought the future was going to be.
Yep.
And...
it's weird that you're comparing that with me having a baby.
Yeah, well, because they don't... In the future, we won't have babies like that. It'll be like Barbarella. You take a pill. And then you put the pill in your belly button or something and something happens and then...
I think you need to stop watching sci-fi.
It's much easier. Why can't we do that?
I think no, it's all right. I think
we've gone a bit wrong in our civilization. We should be looking at pill babies.
Yeah.
You just crush up the pill, mix it in a bit of water, stick it in the microwave for 30 minutes. Bang, got yourself a baby.
I reckon you need to get out more. Stop playing computer games and watching sci-fi. Anyway, this is Patchwork Reel. We'll just keep pushing through. I'm just going to ignore all the weird stuff you're going to say. Because I'm having a baby and it's totally normal and fine.
Yeah, it's perfectly. It's the most natural thing imaginable.
Jeez.
So,
and this is written by Violet and her sister B. Harrison Day. So, the story we said last time, was that they wrote, I think, they wrote either 2 bars each or the first half, and then the sibling wrote the second half and put it together, hence the name Patchwork. And it was kind of meant to be sort of an exercise in a way for them to collaborate writing a tune together.
But it turned out to be a cracking song.
It's a cracking tune.
So
but we don't play it as a reel. We play it more as a hornpipe. So more swung rather than driving as a reel. Because it's a bit more fun to play it like a hornpipe.
Very good. Let's do it.
What?
There's much I enjoy about that song.
You like the chords in that?
I like that G sharp coming in. Like, that's just cool. That's just really cool.
You get a lot of excitement out of that.
And the other thing I like is that. Oops, I played it wrongly. But you know what I mean.
I understand what you mean.
It's that G run. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a good one. And I like that you can sneak in La Bamba in there as well.
Yeah, I have to work on that because Because once again, if someone's a person who is absent that you describe, and the description I have of La Bamba doesn't quite fit that.
Yeah.
You know,
And
he
we've
was
got
a
to
bit more.
Oh, yeah, it's just a little feature in the beat section, but that can come later.
Right.
We'll work up to that. We'll work up to that. All right. This is another one that you liked.
Oh, I love this tune so much.
In this season. So it's called Kieth and Georgie's Fancy.
Yeah. For a similar reason.
Did we quite figure out the backstory with this one?
Nope.
No.
But I was told after I gave my account of the origin of this tune, I received numerous generous emails of correction. Thank you very much, audience, telling me about this song. Tune. Oh God. Yeah. So anyway, a song is a tune without words. A tune is a song that's got words. In case you're wondering what that's about. Personally, I don't care.
I know, but people keep saying to me, and I find it confusing that you keep jumping between song and tune.
Oh, it's not right. And in that he said it was in 1942, but it wasn't. It was in 1941. They wrote that tune.
Calm down. Calm down. As you were saying.
As I was saying. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. My origin account of this tune is wrong.
Yes.
Well, it's not wrong. It's just fanciful.
So did they tell you where?
Yeah. Something.
Something
Queensland.
Somewhere.
Bloody Macquarie Island. There was Arthur Phillip, or just no. What was it? No, Ben Chifley.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Something Ben Chifley, or no, that was something else.
You could see we obviously,
This is a popular song.
We've learned a lot this season of getting things accurate, as you can tell.
We've learned nothing.
We've learned absolutely
Fail.
nothing.
You get a C minus. We'll give you an F for fun, but is that what you give your kids when you teach them F for fun?
F does not exist in our
when they have parent-teacher interviews. No, F is good. F is really good.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's why we do it in red.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, Kieth and Georgie's Fancy. This is one you'll find all over the wide expanse of Australia. I go into that voice whenever I use.
You do.
When I talk about the wide advance of Australia.
You sound like a old bloke.
I'm an old bloke from Tenterfield, and I make saddles.
An old bloke. You just sound old.
Yeah, I know. So I just like to put that on because people, when you talk to a person, you don't really know what they're really like. So you've got this small opportunity to completely befuddle them when they first talk to you. So when I go into any government department, and they say, "Hello, sir, can I help you?" I turn around and go, "Oh, well, yeah, blah, blah, well, and then
you take a bit too much enjoyment about that.
I do.
You do. All right, let's do it. Let's do Kieth and Georgie's.
Kieth and Georgie's Fancy from all over Australia.
One, two, three,
was Keith and Georgie's Fancy. Whatever on that last thing. What did you play?
I did a harmony with you.
Oh, did you? Is that what it was?
I freaked you out, but I did it anyway.
I looked around and go, oh my God! No, I do like that tune. There's a little bit of punk in that tune. You can throw it around.
It's great. I like doing that little pizzicato in the B section because it's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
It's a bit of fun. Great.
Cool.
All right. Now we're going on to another. It's a new one for me. This for this season. It was one we learnt when we did the Marjorie and Steve episode.
Oh yes, yeah.
And it's the Gran McCoy's Schottische.
Yeah.
Now this was one that Eileen McCoy
got from Athel's mum.
Yes, I'm glad you.
Yeah, the things I remember. The things I don't. So, Eileen McCoy, if you listen to the episode, The Genuine Article, which is I chose to call it The Genuine Article because I thought it was a funny play on words, but then I realised, no, you have to really understand the podcast. This is like an in-joke that's gone too far. So, Eileen McCoy is the real McCoy, and if you listen to season 1, we had the robot Steve Gadd, but in the Genuine Article, we had the real McCoy, and we had the real Steve Gadd, which was exciting, and he didn't explode.
Yeah.
Which would have been, it's one thing to clean up a mechanical explosion, but a biological one, well, you'll find out soon enough, Emily.
It would have been a bit messy.
Anyway.
Jeez.
So Eileen McCoy, look, just go and listen to the Genuine Article, chapter, what is it, episode 8?
7.
7. Oh, yeah, episode 7, and you'll hear the story about this tune.
It's good, and that's proper, accurate information, and it's.
Yeah, we only received one email of correction for that. It's as close as we're ever going to get.
It's better than us sort of just winging it.
Yeah, no, I do enjoy. I don't want to put you guys off if you've got something you need to correct.
No, please do.
There's a reason why we do make it inaccurate as hell, and we don't give out a lot of information because we love to hear from you guys and hear the knowledge that's out there.
It forces you to communicate with us.
Forces you, compels you.
Because you can't sleep at night going, but it's good. No, it helps us to learn, and hopefully it'll rub off, and then we'll actually get stuff right.
Well, no. I'll make a concerted effort to get things right.
I will make an effort to try.
But you can only get something right once.
That's true.
You can get it wrong a million times, and I don't want to deprive myself of that opportunity.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, that's a good segue into this.
So Gran McCoy was Athel McCoy, who was Eileen McCoy's husband. Now, Eileen McCoy didn't marry her brother or her cousin. She had a different name, and she took Athel McCoy's name.
Just to be super clear.
Whatever you've heard about Tasmania, it's offensive. Stop it.
Yeah, because it upsets half my family.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
Oh, that's a good one. So,
it's one of my... I do get those moments where, it's just,
So, Gran McCoy's Schottische, folks. This is from the Eileen McCoy selection.
Okay, we can do this.
This is a song that Athel McCoy's mum used to sing and play.
Yep.
So, yeah, and she was Gran McCoy.
All right, I'll do the fancy intro that's written here.
That was the Gran McCoy Schottische.
I like that tune, and I'm definitely just reinterpreting some of the things. There.
You?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry about that, but
Go
I was
on.
just sort of changing the end, just the last bit. I really wanted to go to an F, not an E.
Really?
So I'm just pushing the boundaries there.
Where's that?
At the very end.
At the very
so
end.
just changed a little. I don't know.
On the second last bar? Or
Yeah, the very end there. Sorry, Steve and Marjorie, you gave us that chart, and I'm sort of just.
Oh, fair enough, because there is a big fat G7 over there. So if you played the F, that'd be the
Yeah, I don't know.
note. Whereas if you played the E, that'd be a very strong subdominant note to approach the dominant chord from.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't. My ear just wanted to lean towards it.
Mm.
But I don't know. It's a great tune. That's another one I've enjoyed learning this season because that's been great.
I do like that tune. You know, it reminds me of I reckon there would have been a bunch of those tunes around that time that would have been turned into football club anthems.
Oh yeah.
You know, I just imagine going, and the birdie to rise up and catch
Because
the ball.
the B section's really nice. It goes da 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 da. That's how it.
Yeah.
Probably. Anyway, we're going to go to another new tune that was new for us this season as well, which is from our Fred Prybrack episode, which is episode 8.
Yeah.
And this one's called The Shotgun. And
Yes. And there's a hilarious story that goes along with this tune.
Yes, and you should listen to it.
Because we can't repeat it here.
No.
We've spent all our budget on sound effects already, and we can't bleep out the swear words. So you'll have to go back and listen to that.
Go back.
Yeah.
It's a good story, and it's a great tune, and I'm definitely going to use this tune for a dance because it's the right amount of bars, and it's just really fun to play on fiddle.
Yeah, providing the dancers, of course, get it. Now, if you listen back to the episode, you'll know what we're talking about.
Yes,
That's the joke. That's the joke.
That's it was then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was there.
That's the
Yeah,
connection.
listen to it. All right, so this is called The Shotgun.
Right
Let's
on.
do it. All right, rock on. That's terrible.
Oh,
One,
man.
and two, and.
That was The Shotgun
I like that.
from
tune.
the Fred Prybrack episode. I can't remember the name of the guy who wrote it, but he was a very sweary man.
Yeah, because it was the guy who was the caller, wasn't
Yes,
it?
the sweariest caller in all of Australia.
On all the land.
Grab your effing partners round the effing. Come on, you effing C's.
No, that's terrible.
It was, yeah. I can't swear because we've spent our entire budget on.
Yep,
Yeah, I can't. I've got no more sound effects to cover that up with.
that's right. That's okay. All right, well, we're up to our 10th tune.
Already. Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We are. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
if you got through 2 seasons worth of us just gas bagging, congratulations to you. If we had a gold star, we would give it to you.
Yeah, or a big red F, we'd give you one of those as
Big
well.
red F for fun.
But also, if you're listening to this tune and you want to get in touch, you can do so if you can figure out how. There's the Facebook. You could find our email somewhere, somehow, or just give us a call. Come into Hobart and ask someone if they know Emily Wolfe, and they'll say, "Is she related to the Wolfe brothers?" And just say, "Yeah, she's the third Wolfe brother." And they'll go, "Oh, I think I remember her." Anyway,
Yeah, you could find me that way, or just
just go to Hobart.
do some smoke signals.
Smoke signals from the bridge usually works because we see that from here. And also, if you just stand around the CBD in Hobart and just yell out Emily Wolfe for about 15 minutes or so, a member of the Wolfe family should appear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should appear.
Yeah.
They just wait. We just sort of hang out in Elizabeth Bowl and just waiting.
One will be coming by any minute.
One will be coming by. There's plenty of us.
But what I'm trying to say is if you'd like any of this sheet music, you can just hit us up and we'll share the dots with you. Or if you just want to say hi, that's cool. If you've enjoyed the podcast, do share it round. If you want, if you think people are going to like it. If they're not into folk music, probably don't share it because they'll just have a bad experience with that, and that'll be forever fixed in their mind, that negative association. So don't do that. But if you know someone who is into anything remotely, fiddly or banjo-y, by all means, that'd be great. It's completely free. If you're in Hobart and you want to do, or if you're in anywhere in the state and you want to learn more and come along and play, Tasmanian Heritage Fiddle Ensemble is always open and welcoming.
Yes, we'd love to take on more members, and you get all the music and you get us in the flesh of how we run things,
and you get to do a gig once a year with us, or not once a year, 4 times a year, once a term. Yeah, you get to play a song once every tune.
Unbelievable.
But it's been a fun ride for me. More or less.
I've had a fun ride. Why do you say it like that? I've enjoyed it.
Just keep people on their toes. Just make sure they're listening.
Give me that.
So we'll be back next year because Emily's it's real. She's having a baby.
It's true.
I don't have any sound effects for that.
No, because we've used them all.
Yeah.
But, we're hoping we might do some, I don't know, so things might come up. So, keep your eyes, ears tuned in to when we're uploading things. But, I will return. It's not like I'm...
We'll be returning in about 6 years when Emily's child goes to primary school and she gets the days off.
No, that's not going to happen.
I bet it will. No, but
I bet you wrong.
I bet he was. I bet he will. That's the Tony Abbott bet for those of you who are... You bet they will. You bet I can. They will. I bet.
I think you should just stop.
Does anyone remember that, or is it just me?
No, I think it's just you.
Remember the time he bit an onion and he just ate an onion, like straight out of the thing? Do you remember that?
I don't follow politics as much as you. I
don't follow politics, but Tony Abbott was just a grotesque, macabre thing I couldn't look away from. It was just like,
look, we can't. Wow. You think you should do your own special podcast where you just go on these tangents?
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned that because I'll be looking for something to do. And if you've hated the music we're playing, but by some weird, freakish chance you've really enjoyed listening to me. Keep in touch, folks, because I'll be pumping out another podcast in the next few months or so with a couple of other people based solely on Australian culture and politics. Yes.
I'll listen to that while I'm at home.
You'll listen to it once, I reckon.
No.
They'll be like, nah.
Nah, not for me.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. This is our final tune, Waterloo.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to capo one for this.
Yes, you are going to capo.
Because you want it bluegrassy.
Yeah.
And it's in the key of A, which is
we didn't get any more background information on this tune. No, we didn't, did we?
This was written by
Waterloo is a place in Tassie. It's south. It's past Franklin. It's on the way to Dover.
It was actually written by Napoleon when he was in prison after he lost. After he lost to Waterloo. I just
love that's where your brain went.
Really?
Yeah. Napoleon. Yep, that's the first thing that came into
Waterloo,
your
Napoleon. Yeah, Napoleon. Gumboots. Wellingtons. Yeah, that's how it works. Like, it's just like a little static ball of fury and just shooting out these little tendrils into the universe. Yeah.
Totally makes sense. All right, here we go. Number 10.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
We might even get a banjo solo in there.
No, banjo. No, I'll play when you go for a solo, I'll just play my solo under your solo.
All right.
Fine. Like I do with everyone else that I play with.
Yeah, you do. Really annoying. It's so annoying. It's like, is it my solo or what's Carl doing?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was harmonising.
Yeah, that's not harmonising. Let's do it 3 times, just to be different. Yep?
Yep.
Alright, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, that was terrible counting. Alright, I'm just going to start it.
melodies on that. So one thing I discovered, when you put a capo on, the fretboard still looks the same. So you go for all these grabs and you realise, oh, that's not a B minor. That's the other. Oh, quick, correctify.
That was a bit of fun.
That was Waterloo.
I do like that tune.
What do you like about that tune?
Oh, it's just... I like how you can just sort of... I can play it... Well, the melody's pretty... And then I just like doubling. Like, I like putting a little shuffle in the melody. That's what I like about it, because it really lends itself to do that, and you can just sort of have fun with it and just be stupid with it. Just do crazy stuff. Well,
folks, this is it. This is the end of the road. Thank you
now.
for listening to Season 2, the Wolfe and Thorn podcast. My name is CC Thornley, and I've been playing banjo.
And I've been Emily Wolfe and been playing the fiddle.
We've told you all the information you need to know. We play in other bands as well. We're down here in Hobart, so drop us a line, say hi. Check out the Black Swans of Trespass. Check out the Mentalists. Check out the Wolfe and Thorn. Check out the Tasmanian Heritage String Ensemble. What have you got?
I've got...
check out the Crows.
Check out As the Crow Flies. And I also play in Dave Edelson Bush Band as well.
And they'll be playing at the Huon... Were they at the Huon Valley?
Yeah, we're at Midwinter next week, and so are you.
Yeah, so am I.
I'm also playing with Greg Wells and the Blackwater Band as well.
We're not actually playing together at the Midwinter Fest. We're actually not allowed to speak to each other at the Midwinter.
We actually have to pretend we don't know each other at all.
Yeah, and there'll be 3 people following us around to make sure that we're separated the whole gig.
It's weird. We'll both be there but not playing together.
Yeah.
We'll just...
But I can make this really loud noise, and she knows exactly where I'll be. Like, it's sort of like this whale click thing. Like,
oh, yeah, that's Carl over there. Yeah, okay.
There. And we've figured out this way to communicate, so don't you worry about us, folks. We'll be fine.
We'll be fine. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. All right.
I don't want to go. I don't want to say goodbye.
You'll be fine. We'll be back. Don't stress.
It feels like that time when Doctor Who regenerated from David Tennant to Matt Smith.
I know, but it's not that. Well, it's probably not as dramatic as that.
No, that was
we
a bit
really got to
dramatic,
get out more.
Yeah, well, it's a bit hard with COVID being the way it is.
Yes, I know.
The world changing so rapidly. When they raise the rent, though, most of us will have to get out more. Yeah. The rent's going up.
That's amazing. It's amazing how you're going to leave it on that note. That's great.
Stay positive, suckers.
Stay positive. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it, and we've had a lot of fun this season. And we will be back. So hang in there.
Someday we'll be back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look for us when the northern star rises above the horizon. Shoot this silver bullet into the air, and we'll come.
Eventually. Once we've figured out where that star is.
Yeah, what that noise was. What was that? Someone shooting a gun? Jesus. What's going on over there?
Once we've figured out what's going on, we will be there.
Hooroo.
Thanks. See ya.